Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Marketing
Hello.
Mindset Mastery Show. Kaluwa, we're going to hide you real quick. I'm sorry, we're doing something a little differently today. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it's Thursday already. Oh my gosh, this feels like yesterday we just did the show, the last show on the end of season 8. We're starting season 9. Woo!
First
I can't believe
season
I
9.
know, and we're trying a new platform, and we are no longer with a
And look at that. We have
W4CY.com.
here. We have the logo, and we have all the colors around us.
We're going to explain the logo. The logo is not the show logo. The logo is Liberty Virtual Solutions, and Liberty Solutions is my main business, which hosts our show. So, as the sponsor for the show. So that's why the logo's up there for there. Hopefully next week I can figure out that feature because we're playing with a new. I'm geeking out right now for those who know me.
We might be doing one episode to show how this works.
Yeah, that's a cool.
Stick with us. Oh, maybe people that is listening to us, if you like this platform we are broadcasting from, it's BeLive.tv, and you can ask us, and we can just let you know how it works.
Right, and we can send you all the link. I do have a link that you guys can get access to for discounts and so forth like that. So make sure I will put that in the post for Facebook and on YouTube. So I'm excited, Plinny. We have so many guests lining up. I'm lining up November's guest speakers too. So we are having some great things coming down the pike. Forgive my voice today. I don't know what is going on. There's so many gremlins today. It has been uncanny. I guess when you're starting a new season, it likes to test you, doesn't it?
I guess so.
We need to see
saying, let's see if these ladies are ready to broadcast.
Yeah, exactly. But we got to figure it out between us. So, and our guest is laughing in the background. So anyway, but we can't wait to bring up our guest, Kaluwa. And but before we do, you have some 3 tips this week to share, or do you want me to share 3 tips? I had a couple.
I have the tips today.
Oh,
so
good.
As we're going to talk about a lot of things with our guest Kaluwa, beautiful name by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to talk about mental health, human services, alternative medicine as well. So a lot of things. I was thinking about someone that from the mental side of you that need to talk to his audience. And I know a lot of you might be thinking, oh my gosh, I would like to do a broadcast like Mary and Plinny are doing. I would love to do a Facebook Live. I would love to record some videos to show my expertise online, because now everything is online.
It is.
Right? Especially now. So waiting for everything to go back and normal and meeting people in person, doing classes and retreats and all that stuff. We need to use a computer. So doing this, talking in front of a camera, it's important.
Right.
More than ever. So I have 3 tips to let you go from shy and introvert on camera to a video star.
Perfect.
In really 3 steps.
Can't wait. Let's drum roll, please. Come on down.
So this is really something that I teach to my students. So every student that come to me, whether it's for performances, is for the voice, or is for public speaking, they learn these 3 steps. So I'm sharing for the first time live these 3 steps. So let's start. So you're freaking out to go in front of the camera, and when you are overwhelmed by nervousness, anxiety, and your voice breaks, right?
Or shakes,
right? It's
or if you haven't had much water. I don't know. Can water also?
It could be that too.
Okay.
So everything is together. Imagine like going live and you feel like all the butterflies inside of you, all the emotions, like all the wave coming and overwhelming you. The voice breaks because it's normal in this situation. So what you have to do is talk anyway. How do you do that? It's hard, right?
Right.
But I give you the 3 steps. So exactly before hitting play or hitting record or hitting going live, you do these 3 steps. It takes a couple of seconds. Step 1, you take a deep breath. Simple as
but
that.
through the nose and the gut, right? So
you in from the nose, out from the mouth. Big one, like this, just to shake everything off, right? Then, second step, you pick a point in front of you. In this case, you want to pick the point, your camera. So watch the camera. That will be your point. It's a technique that sporty people, high-level musicians, high-level actors use. And it's picking a point so that you stay focused. Your brain is cutting off everything around you and keeping focused only on what you need to do. And you don't get distracted. You cannot think about everything going on in your head, like, oh my gosh, I'm going live, right? So you don't freak out, because your job as a step 2 is just watching that point, look in the camera. Because it's like looking people in the eyes, right? If I do like this or like this, you don't feel well, because I'm talking to you, but I'm not looking at you. It's like people in person. When you talk, you want to look them in the eyes. Well, on the screen, we don't have eyes. We have our camera. So look in the camera.
Well, the camera is our eyes, so we have to look at in this case.
Exactly. So look in there. Then people will embrace you.
Exactly.
Step number 3. So you got a deep breath. You relaxed a bit. You pick the point. You're ready to go, but you don't. Number 3, really important. Prepare your first sentence. Your first 2-3 words to say. Don't hit live and then you don't know what to say. Whether it is, hello everybody, welcome back, or whether it is, hi, today we're going to talk about blah, 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 blah. Whether it is, you decide what to say first, but write it down and remember it.
It's like a welcome message, right?
Exactly. As a step number 3 of these 3 steps to success, that's how I call them, you have to remind yourself of those words, first sentence, and repeat it in your head over and over again until you're happy. When you hear your voice saying that sentence, those words in your head, when you're happy with it, you hit play, you hit recording, you hit live.
Right.
Right? So step number 1, to be 3 steps to success, to be very confident when you hit your video or live video, is take a deep breath. Number 2, pick the point, watch on camera and don't leave it. And number 3 is rehearse the first sentence so that when you hit play or hit record, you're ready to go. And good luck with it.
Yeah, and have fun with it. Yeah, that's the key thing. Yeah. Have fun. Don't be nervous. It's okay if you mess up a few times. We're a very forgiving audience.
Yeah, you learn doing it. So don't be hard on yourself, okay?
Yeah.
Just hit that button and go on video.
Sweet. Good job. Well, I love them. So thank you for that. And then what is your website? What can they do to reach out to you?
Absolutely. If they want to know more, just hit my website, bettervoicenow.com, or send me an email to info@bettervoicenow.com.
Brilliant. No, I love it. So that's perfect. So I even have it on the
let's
ticker.
Bring our guest in.
So yes, I can't wait to bring her in. So I'm going to start off with that, an introduction, and then we're going to get rolling. And the best part is we don't have commercials anymore. So anyway, so we can just roll right on in. So welcome back to the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show with your host Ray Mason and co-host Plinny Phoenix, who gave such wonderful tips about the video confidence. And I am not having a nervousness. I am actually having just whatever it is going on with my voice, probably water. But anyway, but our guest Kaluwa Ghalika.
Kaluwa. She said it's an African name, very wise and ancient name.
Right. Yeah. So, and her background includes human services, mental health, alternative medicine, and currently is a successful empowerment coach at Imperfectly Amazing. Wow, great title. And then her focus is empowering women to feel worthy of living their life of joy. And she likes working with people who are open to embracing healing energy to help break through the barriers. Oh my gosh, which is our title for today, which is break down before the breakthrough. So take it away, Kaluwa. Let's bring her into the room. And oh my gosh, let me see if you are getting ready to join us. Oh my gosh. See,
Hello,
we did it.
welcome.
Hello. We're having fun playing with Be Live TV today. So I hope you are enjoying that experience. It's kind of different, isn't it? Have you ever done it?
I have not. No, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, if you want the link, let me know. I'll share it with you. Share where you can get access to it. So yeah, it is a lot of fun. So anyway, and there's so many different moving parts to it that I wasn't planning on. So I was learning it, doing a crash course on it. But oh my gosh, we're super excited about you and your topic. And we just to be aware, we are talking to an audience on Facebook, and they will be uploaded to other platforms like YouTube. And so we just have to watch some of the terminologies used, like, and avoid some of
let's say, Mary,
stuff.
that who's watching on Facebook now live, please say that, and you can comment below it, and we will see all your comments.
Yes, we will. Now we may not see it. We may not see it live during this show, but we will be able to see it afterwards.
We see it. We see it.
Not with this setup. Yeah, I don't have it set up with this particular one. So we won't be able to see it during the live show. However, we will be able to see it afterwards and chat with you afterwards. But if you have any questions, always feel free to put it in the chat below the video, and I can always ask the speaker for you on your behalf. And she can even come on Facebook and join us and answer your questions as well. So don't worry, you will always have an answer from our show. So with that, oh my gosh, I want to ask you this first question. Yeah. Why are you so passionate about this topic? I'm just curious.
Yeah, well.
Okay, we have only 1 hour. Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta sum it up in like 3 points.
Yes, there's so many reasons.
It's a weird question all the time, like to put everything together and say, oh, where do I start? Because there were a lot of things that brought you there.
Yeah, well, and quite honestly, like the most recent thing in my life was just this, having fallen into a place of total depletion. And I think so many women can relate to that, whether it be, people pleasing or a negative relationship or, whatever. And so that's where I found myself, was completely depleted. And I had noticed that, sometimes these patterns seem to show up. They were showing up repeatedly. And it's like, well, when things are kind of happening repeatedly, that's kind of the universe's way of telling you to wake up. It's time to work on whatever is happening here. And
hello. We're telling this like many times.
So, it's so funny. My aunt just commented on something. We call that a spiritual 2x4.
2x4?
Yeah, like the lumber 2x4. Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I love it.
And so I really had to. I had to really, put up that mirror to myself and do that deep reflecting and what's happening. And, I also, of course, you saw that I have a long history of working in human services, mental health. So I have a lot of behavior analysis, trained in me. So I also, of course, start observing everybody around me as well. And what I started to notice was these things that kept blocking us from, maybe the life that we wanted, or sabotaging us. And as we broke it down and we broke down all the resistance, it tended to just come to the root of worthiness. And, worthiness can be, I think a lot of times we're like, well, I feel worthy. I feel worthy of good things. I'm confident. I walk into a room, but then there's like the little stuff. Just recently I was talking to somebody and they were given like an honorary distinction, and then they didn't feel worthy because other people have done a lot of education for that. But whoever gave that to you saw in you something, they don't just give them away. So, but sometimes I think when things come easy for us, we think, oh, I'm not worthy because I didn't do much, but it doesn't mean it's easy for others. And so there's all these little messages that we give ourselves. And when you follow it all the way back to the very roots of it, it tends to be a worthiness message.
Absolutely. I agree with it. It all goes there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we talk about confidence as well with this, because if you don't feel that you're worth doing something or be in a certain position, or you're worth of some clients, for example, we have a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs in our audience, coaches. Sometimes the imposter syndrome, they call it, right?
Yeah.
That we are not
It's for real.
worthy. It's really a lack of confidence, because if you don't feel yourself first that you are worth something, well, who can do that?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's like, cognitively, you will know I'm a great coach. I know exactly what I'm doing. It's great. But then there's that little voice back there that goes, you can't charge for that. You can't, and so then, and that's the worthiness thing. And so then what happens is, as you get into these meetings or, these one-on-ones to work with somebody, somehow, it sabotages. You might not say quite the right thing, or it's just this disconnect. And I've experienced that where I've met with somebody, like I basically showed up like almost, if I showed up physically the way I was mentally, it would have been like with a wad of cash, like, let's do this, let's work together. And we got to the end of the meeting and I found myself confused. And I was like, wait, I was so clear going into the meeting and now I'm confused. And now I don't know if I want to work with you. And that's where it shows up. That's where it shows up.
Makes sense. Yeah, that's impressive. So the next question becomes, how do you show up confidence in all areas of your life?
That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, and I always go back
one more also, like, do we have to be confident all the time? Because I'm a confidence coach, right?
Yeah.
And I have this question too. So I wanted to just
So
do you think we need to be confident all the time, or it's okay not to be confident in some areas of our life? What do you think about?
Well, I think they kind of tie together, because I think there's a beauty of vulnerability, right? And being able to be vulnerable, because then that vulnerability, if you can even be vulnerable with yourself and then have that awareness of, oh, you know what? This is not really an area I'm super confident in. And then instead of judging yourself about it, just working on it and giving yourself some grace and starting. And that's where all of my alternative stuff comes in. Of course, I love like meditation and tapping, EFT tapping, all these kinds of things to reprogram, affirmations. And so we have all these things that can reprogram some of that stuff. But yeah, I just got a message. It was funny this past weekend about having a relationship with fear.
Right.
Which was so interesting to me, because, I think normally when we sense fear within ourselves, like I've historically been really good about hiding. Like excellent at hiding.
We are all experts in that.
Yes.
And way so, or the other.
Yes. And so as I come out of hiding, I feel this fear, and then I judge myself for the fear. And I received a message that, no, embrace it, hug it, love that fear. It's okay. And as you embrace it and give yourself that love, then you have the courage to just move through it. And I felt like that was such an empowering shift from just, oh man, here comes the fear again.
So it's more acceptance. It's awareness and acceptance.
Yeah.
Brilliant. No, that's awesome. And then we don't have to have the feeling of confidence all the time, right? I mean,
no.
Because it's just hard to be confident every single moment of your life.
Oh, that's too much energy. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm high energy. We all know that I'm high energy, right? I mean, Plinny knows this from working with me, but even people with high energy, we get drained because there's things that that don't bring us joy, or things that, people's emotions are something you tap into, and it affects you in different ways, especially when you're like an empath like me. And so I don't know, you can't always expect someone to be positive and all the time. There are things that are going to happen, and how we react to them is, and I always keep telling my family this, especially my 15-year-old son. I said, you're in control of your emotions, your beliefs, your values, your attitudes, as well as your actions and your reactions. And how we react to situations, like being confident or being joyful or whatever it is that we choose for that emotion, we're in control of that. Now, a lot of people think that, oh, well, that person brought me down. But at the end of the day, you're in control of how you react to that. You have to decide, are you going to let them steal your joy? Or are you, and I've been telling this to people all week long, too.
We are saying it's simple, it's not easy.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
That's the thing, right?
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, it's something you have to work on.
Right. And that's what I want to ask Kaluwa. I mean, how do you keep people from stealing your joy so that you can stay confident? That's sort of a twist to that question.
So, and it's what's coming to me as you're asking that is, so this is another one of my little soapbox things, is we have been taught, we've been programmed through the generations to disconnect from ourselves. To disconnect from our bodies. Like if we feel something, just take an aspirin, power through it. You know what I mean? We've been taught, especially as women, we've been taught to disconnect because, let's face it, we live in a patriarchal society. And so for generations, masculine traits have been the ones that have been valued, whereas feminine traits are minimized, things like intuition. That's,
everything.
Women's intuition. Wives' tales kind of stuff. But the more you get back to that connection with yourself, the more you trust yourself, right? And you think about if you have a relationship with somebody and you don't communicate with them and you ignore everything they say, it's not a real great relationship, is it?
No.
So when you get back into that relationship with yourself and connecting and trusting, it's almost like you don't have to be at all. You just know, like it's just within you. You just continue to honor yourself. And, basically the trick is, this is very scientific. If it feels ooky, it's not in alignment for you, right? But when you feel it and it feels right, like you just know. And so, with that, the other part of that is I'm always saying that everything is happening for you, not to you. Right. So that's part of it too, that just knowing.
That's interesting. Can you say that again?
Everything happens for you, not to you.
And I think that's the biggest problem, that most people think it's happening to them. That's what the words I hear from your mouth.
It changes everything.
Yeah.
It really is. And, and it's funny because the timing of this is great. We just went through, and so this is where I do get a little bit like, hey, energy is everywhere, right? And so we just had all these planets in retrograde and, all of this stuff going on around us. And I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know all the details.
I follow it, but I can't explain it.
Yes, exactly. And so, my goodness, what I just came out, it was like the internet with problems, the car battery died, my son got into a really nasty bike accident, I just sprained my foot. Like it was just one thing after another. But I found myself just, because everything happens for me. And one of the things that I know is that before we have this great breakthrough, there tends to be the breakdown.
Right.
And so, and I always talk about that, like when you're giving birth, right before that baby comes, are those transitional contractions that are like, and biologically, you just can't back down at that point.
No,
but
you're stuck
in
to it.
life, like with your own personal breakthroughs, this is where a lot of people back down. They're like, forget it. I don't like this. This is too hard. I'm uncomfortable. But this is where I always say, oh man, I'm excited. There must be a really great breakthrough coming for me right now, because this is garbage.
No, I get that. There's always a victory at the end of a struggle. And I think that's what you're saying. And it's so true, because anybody who's been successful can tell you that they had a major struggle prior to the victory.
Yeah.
So that is so cool. Yeah, that's actually a setup for our next question. So you pretty much answered about the breakthrough point, which is the whole point of, we do have a setback is a setup for a breakthrough. I think would be a good way of saying that, and that's almost perfectly aligned with our topic for today. But I was just wondering, you had talked about empowerment and what it meant earlier, or did we already talk about how to control? Did we talk about how to stay in control of business conversations where you feel empowered? Can you talk a little bit about both? Because when we're in business, and like you said, we talked a little bit about how it's a women are feminine power. Well, actually, women and men both have this. We have our feminine side and our masculine side. We have both,
and men have this as well. Yes,
right. So my question is, when we're talking about business, and I have to position myself as a women-owned business owner to be, and I tell people, like, you either like me or don't. There's really no in between. If you don't like me, there's a door. Don't let it kick you in the behind. Okay, I say this in polite terms, but in case we have kids listening.
You're clear, huh?
Oh, I'm clear. I'm very clear. And people laugh and think it's funny, but at the same time, at the end of the day, I mean business. Because I'm like, look, if we don't get along, what's the point? But there's going to be times when we're going to have conversations, and we have to know when it is that we have to be the good listeners, and when we have to sit there and be strong. And we have to know the difference of when it's the right timing. And I think that's the perspective I'm coming from when I'm asking that question. So I was hoping you could address that, because that's important for both sides to understand each other. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I kind of feel like that almost goes back into that connection to yourself. So knowing, so then okay, now it's time for me to speak up, or, now it's time to listen. But, one of the other things too, especially like in a business conversation, is, again, like we talked about having the feminine qualities and the masculine. In a business setting, masculine qualities tend to be valued, appreciated, celebrated, whereas feminine are not as much, or not at all, And I know that for myself, and I know many women that I've worked with, they've made themselves wrong for having their feminine qualities show up in business. And especially like, if you're talking about healers or coaches, a lot of times they got into that because it was something that they loved. It was a passion. They started their business from their heart. But then, somebody said, well, you've got to prospect this many people every day, and you got to, and then and they felt wrong for it. But there's this beautiful blend of the two that happens where, like, we lean back, we get into our feminine, we reflect, we get that intuition, and then we take that masculine action forward. And I think we can do the same with conversations. Here's where it's time to lean back and listen and take it in. And now here is where I take action, and I speak authentically, and which is another one, using our authentic voice is something that, another way that we hide. And I mean, for me, for instance, I was quite the precocious little child.
I couldn't imagine that.
Well, and it's coming back, because I tell you what, she got pretty stifled. It was don't you ever think before you speak, talks too much in class, the whole, and so
Guilty.
Of course, so the messages I received was, your words are not valuable. It's inconvenient for us. We don't want to hear it. You're annoying, And so I did start to really stifle myself. And what's amazing is how that showed up actually physically. So I, for years and years, had horrible problem. Like, if I would get sick, it would go straight to my throat. Like, I've had to go to the hospital because my
interesting.
Yeah. Because you were that
scared? No, because they were so swollen that the doctor was afraid it was about to cut off my air supply.
Oh, wow.
tonsil, the tonsil and the uvula, the other side stayed open. And
yeah, I had
so you had a block mentally that was related to not
yes, I constantly
for yourself.
Absolutely. I would constantly lose my voice. I would lose my voice all the time. I would have dreams where like something was happening and I would scream and nothing would come out, you know? Wow. So all of these
things, I know those nightmares.
Those are so annoying, aren't they?
No, I hate them. There is a ghost or a monster that wants to kill you and you are saying, help, but no voice.
And it's like,
some of the nightmares I had, would probably scare you off. I'm just saying.
Well, so this all really started to
another
show up for me.
Maybe we should do that for Halloween. We'll do that for Halloween. We'll talk about that for Halloween. Anyway, go for it.
But these things all really showed up for me physically, and I had to start healing that and start practicing using my authentic voice. And I think one of the most important things is that you have to know if you're using your authentic voice, you're honoring yourself, and people might not always react well, and that's okay. That's on them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's their baggage. And it was funny because I was doing this little kind of game with myself to use my authentic voice, and I was in a meeting, and it was actually with people who were very like accepting and all about these kinds of things I'm talking about, and they're like, oh, how you doing? I'm like, well, truth be told, I'm a little tired today, and there was just this immediate like pullback because all anybody wants to hear to that question is I'm fine, or oh great, okay, or and so it kind of shocked me to see the reaction. So what you have to remember is that people have been programmed for generations and generations and generations. And so they might not have like, oh, I'm sorry to, they might not react the way you want them to, and that's okay. You're doing it for you and not for anyone else.
It's not only you. And also, I think you will agree with me, like, there are some situations when we have to show more our masculine side, and somewhere a feminine side it's more appropriate, or it can work better. So do you agree on saying to everybody that are listening that we don't have to be the same person all the time? We don't have to change all the time, so flexibility might be the key.
Yeah. And, there's like cycles of the moon and, everything else where like, this is the action phase. This is where I'm like, hitting the ground running. And then there's the cycle where you're like, you know what, I'm going to come back and reflect and having that combination, because, what ends up happening sometimes is when you're always in that masculine going like, go, go. Well, you burn out a lot of times. And a lot of times you have Yeah. And a lot of times you get that, I just call it like banging your head on a wall type of stuff, because what happens is what you're going for is not really in alignment for you anymore, but you didn't reflect and figure that out, So, and I really love to say too that, embracing and healing your feminine energy is important for men as well.
Right.
Because this is stuff that they do have feminine aspects as well as masculine. It's just they're teetered more one way and we're teetered more the other way. But, healing it benefits everybody. It benefits women and men.
Right. That's great.
Do you think that like this lack on adapting to different situations and accepting a different side of us has a relation with the lack of self-esteem?
Yes.
And if so, how do you boost that?
Yeah. So, I think that's why I think for especially women, they've been made to feel unworthy for so long because you're, surrounded by people who are telling you that your strongest qualities are of no value. Like this is the messages you've been receiving for so long. And I think a big part of what I want to get out is no, they're absolutely valuable. They're like, I can think of time actually not long ago. So, I go for my morning hikes oftentimes, and I'm very confident. I've taken martial arts. I know how to handle myself. But I came across, I was coming through and I saw somebody doing, like, he was standing there in the woods, and then he did some things that made me concerned. And then he positioned himself where it sort of bottlenecked me, where as I would have to go across this little bridge, I would be walking right into him. He was like right there and not giving any space. So as I was watching all this go down, I was really listening to my intuition, because at first I was like, maybe I should turn back. And my intuition said, no, don't turn back. But I also knew, don't go forward. And I just stood there. And it was funny because I just stood there staring at him from a safe distance. And it's just kind of that uncomfortable,
yes.
So
that comfortable silence. Yeah. It's always awkward, making you feel like, what do you do next?
And I think he was, because there he is expecting one or the other. And when neither happened, it threw him up, and he just sort of wandered off into the woods again, where there was no trail. It was very questionable behavior. Okay. And with the background that I have and all of the things, like, I'm not easily rattled. So, I got out of there, right? Came home, and I decided to be neighborly and just put a message. I saw some, on the Nextdoor app, like I saw some behavior. Just please have extra awareness if you're out on the trail, please, And I mean, I got so minimized and belittled. Oh, men, it's time for us to stop pampering these women and like all these really negative emotions. Now, what I will say was there was also this surge of people who came and supported, but for many people, that knee-jerk reaction is to make me sound like, some debutante who can't handle herself. Oh, and everybody is a threat to me. And, and that's the picture that they really painted.
It's like we need to be all the time the victims.
Yes.
Yes. It's like it's on us, and they're not doing anything wrong.
Yes.
Right. And the
problem is, I find it really wrong.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the biggest problem.
It's not us, it's another person behavior that is not appropriate, or it's rude.
It's really more things. It's really more their perspective and what they believe women should be. And it's an old school mentality.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not just men, it's women too, because it's the way we were raised in a certain era. But now in the year 2020 and 21 and that new decade, and once we reach that 2000 mark, oh my gosh, our mentality for women has shifted. Yes. We are women of not less warriors. We're women of victory. We're women. Yes. We're women of empowerment, and we're women of confidence. And it's a whole different perspective and mental shift. And I think the more people that accept that as a truth, and it's not that we're saying that men are anything negative against men. It's not that. It's just that we just want everyone to have a general understanding of that mental shift. Yeah. Women don't have to be painted as subservient. Women don't have to be painted as the underdog or the one that's always struggling. Okay. We can help you equally on an equal footing. We have our skill sets. You have yours. Absolutely. Let's bring them to the table and work together and collaborate. And I think that's what is missing in this world is people are not collaborating. They're competing. And they still have that competitive mentality.
And I think where we went wrong in the past was women embraced more of the masculine energy in order to be considered equal. And in a way, it helped things along, but it didn't really shift the perspective of the feminine qualities, because I don't want to be a man. I have no interest, Yeah,
I'm not changing my body parts. I'm 3 years old, going to be 54 in December. So no, thank you. I'm like past that point.
And I truly honor masculine qualities. Like I have, men that I work with in my life. And it's just sometimes, man, the perspective they give me, I'm like, oh, you are so amazing. And I value it and I love it. And I just want women to know that their perspective is just as valuable and just as important.
Agreed. No, that's important too, and I like the way you're phrasing things, because it aligns with everything from your authentic voice to helping you guys understand that, you know, we don't have to be boxed into some old mentality anymore. Let's break through that old mentality and let's get to the point. Let's all be on an even footage. You know, let's all treat each other with respect.
Yeah.
Let's all treat each other not necessarily just as equals, but more as collaborative partners. Because I think the more that we focus on that aspect, oh my gosh, I think that's going to like reduce some of the personal struggles we've been dealing with in business and personal.
Absolutely.
But that's just my train of thought.
And I one of the things I think is so important too is giving yourself some grace. Right. And I mean, we have programmed responses in us. And so, yes, that might be like, so somebody puts out, oh, what a powder puff. Like she was just being a victim, blah, blah, blah. Right. Maybe that's my knee jerk reaction. But then if I become aware, right, like check my thoughts, even if I've already posted, then say, you know what? I should not have made that assumption, or, you know, and own it. And that's how we start to unprogram old programming.
Exactly.
And just, you know, forgive yourself, love yourself, give yourself some grace. This is what I've been taught. This is what's been passed down for generations. I mean, women didn't have checking or, you know, bank accounts until the 70s. I mean, that's mind blowing to me.
Wow. Yeah.
They were not allowed. So
I remember when I was a kid, my godmother told me, Plinny, the best friend of a woman is not a diamond. It's a bank account.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I never would have thought of that. Okay.
And so when you think about that, it's really not that long ago. Like this has still been going on.
Yeah. Do you think it's like, we said about like, overcome this, it's the society, it's the culture. We grow up with all these things being told by TV, people around. And how do you think we can overcome this? Is that building communities? Is it talking about it? What do you think?
I mean, I always say start with yourself, like that whole idea of be the change. And, you know, I'm very conscious of what I let into my brain at this point. Like news, no.
You know, it's 1 year. I don't watch the news.
I don't even watch the news hardly at all.
No, yeah, it's too much. And then so even like if I'm going to watch a show or a movie, and you know, I'm like, yeah, this is really just, it feels heavy. It feels wrong. I turn it off. I find something that feels positive, more in alignment. Yeah.
More positive, more
and there is still stuff out there. I have to stick with comedy most of the time because that usually, you know, keeps you up.
Same here.
Yes.
It's like really approaching something that nurtures us.
Yeah.
Right. Something encouraging.
Yeah. And you know, that just that working on yourself, you know, again, like I was saying, be aware, you know. I tell you what, one of the hardest things that you can do is really take that good look in a mirror and accept, you know, some of your own stuff, but it's the most empowering thing you can do. And it's like the greatest catalyst for any changes you want to make. So if you're, you know, again, having those cyclical stories happening,
running in your head, playing.
Well, not even that, but experiences. Like, you know, I was just, somebody was reaching out yesterday and talking about where they're constantly having this same type of relationship. It's time to look what's going on, because you're the common denominator then. And that doesn't mean you're a terrible person. We want to always like label judgment, like, oh, you're horrible. No, it just means I have some healing to do.
Yeah,
that's all.
No, that's brilliant. And I don't know, do we have one more question for her before we get ready to give
I think we all done the questions of the first part.
Perfect. So
there is my more though, so everybody stick with us.
Yes, and we're not done because we're going to get ready to go in about 6 minutes, but we do want to ask you Oh my gosh. Plenty, I think, got frozen for a second. She'll unfreeze hopefully soon. But anyway, while she's doing freeze tag, I'm going to yep, I had a feeling we might have lost her. What is it that you have something special to share with our audience?
Well, I am always putting stuff out there to inspire and motivate and, just help you stay in that place of empowerment. I do love the idea of community because
Right.
that's, that's how we get away from maybe some of the, the negative, and we get
Right.
with these tribes of people. And so, yes, I have a newsletter that goes out, I call them love letters actually, but I send out videos. I get on every Monday and Wednesday. I get on and do lives in the mornings where people can connect with me. I do a podcast called Breakdown or Breakthrough or Bust. And it shares stories where people talk about, different breakthroughs that they've experienced. And it's been so fascinating to see the ones that have come through, things like grief and menopause and toxic relationships, and just different things to inspire you to keep, I always say, keep pushing through because there's a spark in you.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
Are we having a hard time getting Plinny back?
We are, and I thought I lost you guys for a second, but you're back. Yeah, Plinny has connection issues. She's in Ireland, so sometimes the internet is not always user friendly. So we kind of learn to do the best we can and muddle through for that. So, and for a second there, I thought I lost this platform, but no. I have this phrase. It's called the gremlins. Anything that's wrong with the internet, the sound, the voice. People call them the fatty fingers. My fingers aren't fat because I use them way too much, so I call them the gremlins. Anything that goes wrong, there's a gremlin attached to it, and that is my story, and I want to stick to it. So, long story short, I just happened to make that into a funny because, oh my gosh, if you're not having fun with what you're doing, what is the blooming point?
That's it.
So you have to have. I keep telling people, let go of the things that don't give you joy, and make sure you bring joy back into your life. Because oh my gosh, people are sitting there posting things lately about their birthdays coming up and how they are so, and they're older like me, and they're all like negative about it. And I'm like, I gave them a fresh perspective. You know how like when we were little, we were looking forward to being 18 because we were going to get ready to drive a car, or we were looking forward to Christmas because we want to open up the, the coolest gift that, what Santa gave us, or whatever your perspective is on that value. But long story short, I mean, why not look forward to birthdays? Yeah. I look at it. Here's my perspective on this, and I know this is sort of a little bit off the beaten path from our. But
topic. This is actually like right up my alley. I actually always say infuse joy. So yes,
there
please.
You go. So this works out perfectly. So Plinny is back. Good job. Let me bring Plinny back into the room. So we're glad that you're back. So, but anyway, Plinny, we're going to talk about birthdays real quick because one of the things that's about bringing joy. Yep. Thank goodness. Thought I lost you. So anyway, but long story short, when it comes to perspectives on birthdays, one of the things I've just sharing a minute ago was a lot of people were saying in their birthdays, oh, I'm another year older. And oh my gosh, they had such a negative viewpoint.
A friend of mine told me like this summer was my birthday, and he sent me a message. It was one of the best messages I ever had in my life. So at the end, he wrote, congratulations, because you are 1 year more on this planet. So
it's a perspective. Yes.
This also goes into empowerment.
Right.
For so long, so what they say is as a woman ages, when she goes into her like postmenopausal years, they used to call it the crone, right? But that's taken on a negative turn. Now they say the wise woman. But this is a time of amazing power for this woman. She has so much knowledge. She has so much intuition. Like the wise woman is like a force to be reckoned with. But what has happened is, again, that patriarchal, we value, we've got 20-year-olds acting with 70-year-old men, like it's always like, no matter what age a woman is in Hollywood, like in the screenplay, she's played by a 20-year-old.
Wow.
It just feels like that sometimes. Now we're starting to see more and more of it breaking up a little bit.
Well, now there are a lot of powerful women.
Yes,
There are around the 50s, 60s,
yes.
70s.
But
they're
for
like,
a long
you're not
time,
going to put me on a side, on a corner.
Yeah, we only celebrated young women, whereas, way back, way historically, it was always actually the older women who were celebrated.
Yeah. Right.
And so I think we just need to
do that mental
reclaim that. We need to reclaim it, because by reclaiming it, we take the power.
And and that brings me to the point I was going to make. When it comes to making that mental flip, it's more of what I suggested to those people that made those points, and they were all in agreement. Oh, that's a great idea. So here's what I'm going to suggest. Make sure you do a little quick evaluation. What have you achieved this year? And then what are the goals you're going to set for next year?
Yeah.
Do it in a positive manner, not look of what you could also look at what went wrong too, if you would like, and just say, what can I do to fix it?
What needs to be improved.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
good.
Exactly.
That's what I was trying to say. Make sure you see but it's better to say instead of what's wrong, say what can I improve? What is it that I can fix to make sure I don't make that same mistake this year? And carve the line in the sand and move forward and set those goals for next year, because you want to be able to sit there and say, what have I achieved in my lifetime? When you get closer to that, what have you achieved?
That's hard to do, because if you think about it and say, oh my God, what did I achieve on my life?
But you see,
you do it like that.
But if you do it like that, it's a lot longer list than the negative stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you got it, and it outweighs that negative thing. And then the goals, like if I have really like good lofty goals, it gets me excited to go. Okay, so my benchmark is birthday to birthday. So and that's something to think about. I mean, let's bring that excitement of turning 18 and saying wanting to drive a car, because you know how like we associate that is, especially in the US. But I'm more like, at the same time, it's more like, let's do that same excitement, like opening up Christmas presents on Christmas. Let's bring that same joy.
Oh, that's so fun.
And what are you doing for yourself? Like annually, my daughter's birthday and mine is the same month. So annually we take a beach trip, it's like we spend a week at the beach. And so we are intentionally doing something to celebrate.
Exactly. So, and it's a good point. You need to be intentional. I always tell people, even in my business academy, because not only do I have a virtual events agency, I also have a business academy, and I teach my students this. You need to celebrate your wins, as we do weekly. And we celebrate, we have questions for feedback and for, clarification feedback, really. And then we also have setting clear goals. And then we also do what is it that we're going to do to reward ourselves? Because I think that ultimately we forget to reward ourselves.
One of the things I do with someone I work with is every week when we meet, I say, what are you looking forward to this week? All right. What are you looking forward to?
Like
because sometimes, because we forget to infuse joy. I would say we forget to infuse joy into our week. And so then we're identifying it right at the beginning of the week, like, oh, there isn't anything. So what are we going to put in there? Or what's already there that we're going to really celebrate and make joyful? Because sometimes it's just a matter of that perspective, instead of, oh, I've got to go do this. Well, actually, no, I was looking forward to doing this. So now I'm excited to go do this, and I'm going to, bring this energy to it. And now it's a whole event instead of a place you needed to be at a certain time.
And I like it. So ask yourself if there is something to celebrate this week. If there is not, come up with something or celebrate something that you might think is not exciting, but it should be.
Yeah.
So we need to wrap it up. Oh my gosh. And that's a great positive way of putting it. And I know one way, Plinny and Koala, I know one way they can have joy in their life every week. Come watch our show every week.
That's right. This place is fun.
I'm glad. It feels so fun to have you guys. No, we love to have fun. We love to bring joy. We love to help our audience.
Hang out, a coffee, we chat.
Yeah. So
we give some very nice tips out there.
Yeah, and I was super grateful for those tips. I was, in the wings waiting to come on, doing the deep breath and following those tips.
Okay, I follow the instructions. I think you don't need those because you're really good with the public speaking and the build and another thing that
everybody says
really
that, but I do
get
nervous. I do get nervous. So everybody does say, but I always own it because there's so many people who stop themselves saying, "Oh, but you're so good." Actually, no, I get very nervous. So you can do
it. That's true. So really,
exactly, that's another thing I find out that people is really worrying because they feel they're nervous.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yes.
We'll do before going live. And then when we're just chatting, we are in tweet. There is no time to think about it. We are nervous. We're just talking.
Yes.
But before going live, we all nervous and we do it anyway.
I'm going to have a hard time closing today's show. We're going to be chatting like schoolgirls for like the rest of the day. I do have other calls to do too today, including
you have to come back.
Yes,
we have so much to talk about these topics. They are so huge, like about empowerment, women empowerment. Oh my gosh, we could stay here forever.
Yeah,
so you have to come back.
You just have to let me know your schedule. I'll plug you back in December. How about that?
So that sounds beautiful. I
love
it.
So message. So I can't wait.
Coming back.
So we got. So thank you. So if you guys have any questions for her, please put them in the chats. We will definitely make sure that she gets access to our Facebook group, which is Liberty Virtual Solutions. And oh my gosh, make sure you just post the questions. She'll be happy to answer them. If not, we'll funnel those questions to her and answer them for you. I can't speak. Sometimes days are easier than others. But anyway, especially at the end of the day and in the end of the week, it always seems to be some sort of tongue-tied. I don't know what it is about that, but it is the way it is. But thank you, Plinny. Thank you, Kaluwa, for sharing. Kaluwa, and I will get that eventually. Anyway, one of these days I'm going to get that. But thank you for sharing some valuable tips for audience to help them grow themselves and their business on the Marketing Mindset Mastery Radio Show. And her topic today was on design. No, it wasn't. So her topic today was actually on that breakdown through the breakthrough. I had to make sure I got that correct. Yeah. And don't forget to go and take advantage of all the offers in our Liberty Virtual Solutions website. Also, you could also go on YouTube and Facebook. We will be going live on Facebook. Hopefully, I can add YouTube in there next week. We're learning a new platform on Be Live TV. I'll make sure the link for that is available for you all on those platforms. And there'll be other platforms we'll be hosting as well in the near future. So with that, oh my gosh, we got something very fabulous. We are actually have a shop where we can get merchandise. You can get, and anyone who purchases a school backpack during the school year of this 2021 to 2022 school year, every $45 backpack will be $5 gift card will be donated to one of the people who was a lucky teacher in the U.S., starting in Virginia and then working your way outward, because we want to give back to the teaching community that I taught for 20 years at. So, and wonderful. I know they need it, and during this, they need every little bit they can help. So that's our way of giving back to our community. So please feel free to drop us a message. We have gone way over time today. So, but the good thing is we're on our own time and not having to worry about following a station. So this is a little more flexible for us this time. I hope you enjoyed it.
You are the boss, Mary.
Thank you. That's it. And you're my co-boss. So there you go. So I had to check with her first, make sure we were okay to go over time. But anyway, Plinny, would you like to please go and close this out? And I will make sure that the ticker has the shop.
Yes. So, Kaluwa, thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, Mary, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're coming back, right?
Yes.
You have to set everything up. So, Kaluwa's coming back. So, you will find here every week nice guests with other tips for your business, for your mindset. So, come back, join us again. And because we're working for you.
Yes, we are. So, with that, you'll have we
are coming back like all October, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern time. So stick with us. You can find every information on libertysolution.com and on our Facebook page and you find our episodes on YouTube as well. So we want to see you again next time, right?
Yep.
So for me is everything. So thank you so much from listening and watching, and we'll see you next week again.
Yep. With that, have a good one.
Bye.
I'm having so much fun geeking out on this, by the way. So you guys have a good one. So